You know that feeling. The beat drops and you just have to move. It could be Beyoncé commanding a stadium, Drake's unmistakable flow, a viral TikTok dance, or Ed Sheeran's catchy rhythm. It's the soundtrack to our lives. But have you ever stopped to ask where that beat really comes from? What if I told you that all these songs, all these different artists and genres are all connected, that they share a common DNA, a sonic family tree whose roots run deep into one continent, Africa? This isn't just a history lesson. This is a sonic investigation. We're going to uncover the hidden code that links the music we love to a single powerful source. This is the story of the playlist that shaped the modern world. 1. The primary clues. To solve this musical mystery, we need to know what we're listening for. Let's break down the key clues, the core elements of many African musical traditions that became the building blocks for so much else. First up, polyrhythm. Don't think of one person playing one beat. Instead, imagine a whole conversation of rhythms happening at once, multiple distinct patterns interlocking to create a complex and moving tapestry of sound. It's a foundational philosophy of groove. Next, there's syncopation. Most Western music traditionally puts the emphasis squarely on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's predictable. Syncopation is the rebel. It's the art of stressing the notes you don't expect, the offbeats. It creates tension, surprise, and that undeniable urge to move. It's the swing in jazz and the funk in, well, funk. And finally, the most human element, call and response. It's basically a musical conversation. One person sings or plays a line, the call, a group or another instrument answers, the response. While you can find forms of it around the world, the version that became the bedrock of American music was carried in the hearts of enslaved Africans, used in work songs and spirituals to build community and survive the unimaginable. Polyrhythm, syncopation, and call and response. These are our clues. Now, let's follow the trail. 2. Following the trail. The birth of the blues and jazz. The journey of this playlist is tangled up with one of the most brutal chapters in human history, the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans were brought to the Americas, stripped of everything they owned, but they carried their culture and their music inside them. A crucial piece of evidence is an instrument many think of as quintessentially American, the banjo. But its ancestors are West African plucked lutes, like the akanting or the ngoni. Using gourds and whatever materials they could find, enslaved Africans recreated these instruments, a tangible, audible link back to their heritage. This resilience gave birth to the blues. Born from the spirituals and field hollers of the Deep South, the blues was the sound of sorrow and survival. In the raw emotion of the early blues, you can hear that call and response between a singer and their own guitar. Think of B.B. King making Lucille sing right back at him. You can feel the blue notes, those bent, sliding pitches with deep roots in African vocal styles where gliding between notes is common. And from the fertile ground of the blues, another revolutionary sound sprouted: jazz. Early pioneers in New Orleans took the soul of the blues and supercharged it with syncopation, that shifty, offbeat rhythm that makes you want to move. The very idea of swing, that infectious groove that is the heartbeat of jazz, is a direct descendant of African musical sensibilities. And when Louis Armstrong sang a line and then played the same phrase on his trumpet, he was carrying on that timeless call and response tradition. This wasn't just new music, it was memory transformed. The rhythms of West Africa were now echoing through the streets of New Orleans, taking on a new name but carrying the same soul. 3. Following the trail, the engine of rock and funk. The trail doesn't go cold there. As African American musicians migrated across the United States, they carried that sonic DNA with them, planting the seeds for the next global explosions. As the legendary Muddy Waters put it, The blues had a baby, and they called it rock and roll. Now, it wasn't quite that simple. Rock and roll was a true hybrid, blending African-American rhythm and blues with country and other styles. But the blues was the main artery. Pioneers like Chuck Berry, often called the father of rock and roll, took the 12-bar blues structure, cranked up the tempo, and created a sound that defined a generation. That driving backbeat in rock drumming is heavily influenced by the rhythmic priorities in African-derived music passed down through R&B. Then, just when you thought rhythm couldn't get any more powerful, James Brown grabbed the microphone and created funk. Brown built his music around a revolutionary idea. Every instrument is a drum. He had his band create incredibly complex, interlocking polyrhythms, our first clue. On tracks like Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, he famously shifted the emphasis to the one, the downbeat, creating a groove so deep it was a force of nature. From a West African drum circle, to a bluesman in Mississippi, to Chuck Berry's Duck Walk and the funk of James Brown, the thread is unbroken. If you're already starting to hear your own playlist differently, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started. 4. Following the trail. The global beat. This influence wasn't just an American story, it went global. In Latin America and the Caribbean, the fusion of African musical traditions with European and indigenous elements created some of the most vibrant music on the planet. Take Brazil's samba. It's widely believed its very name comes from the Angolan word semba. While samba is a fusion, its rhythmic heart, that layered, syncopated percussion that drives the energy of carnival, is a direct inheritance from West and Central African drumming traditions. Meanwhile, in Cuba, African rhythms blended with Spanish influences to plant the seeds for what would become salsa. Then, hop over to Jamaica, the birthplace of reggae. That iconic laid-back skank beat is defined by its heavy emphasis on the offbeat. This evolved from ska and rocksteady, which were fusions of American R&B and traditional Jamaican mento music, a style deeply rooted in African rhythms. The social commentary in so much reggae also continues a long African tradition of music as a tool for storytelling and change. From Brazil to Jamaica, the echoes of Africa are unmistakable. The playlist was expanding, learning new languages, but never forgetting its roots. 5. The big reveal. So let's step back. We started with today's biggest hits and followed the clues backward. We found the banjo's ancestors in West Africa. We traced the call and response of the blues, the syncopated swing of jazz, the driving backbeat of rock and roll, the polyrhythmic genius of funk, the infectious pulse of samba and salsa, and the offbeat skank of reggae. The evidence is overwhelming. What connects them all is a shared sonic ancestry, a rhythmic DNA. This legacy isn't just history, it's alive. In the 1970s, Nigerian pioneer Fela Kuti took American funk and jazz and fused them with Nigerian highlife and traditional Yoruba music to create a powerful new genre, Afrobeat. That's Afrobeat, one word, no es. And today, the influence is more potent than ever. In the 1980s, Paul Simon's Graceland massively amplified the sounds of South African musicians for a new global audience, building on the international success already achieved by artists like Miriam Makeba and Hugh Masekela. Now, the global charts are dominated by Afrobeats, with an S, a contemporary umbrella of pop styles from West African artists like Wizkid, Burna Boy, and Tems. While it's a different genre from Fela's, it represents the source reclaiming its spot at the top of the charts. When Drake collaborates with Wizkid or Beyoncé builds an album around African artists, they are plugging directly into this ancient and powerful current. The playlist that started centuries ago now includes the blues, jazz, rock and roll, soul, funk, salsa, samba, reggae, and hip-hop. It's the soundtrack of rebellion, joy, and change. Conclusion, case closed. So next time you press play on your favorite song, Listen a little closer. Listen past the melody and deep into the rhythm. You might just hear it, that ancient, resilient, and undeniable heartbeat. A heartbeat that traveled across oceans and centuries, a rhythm that proves the foundational playlist for so much of the world's music was, and is, African. The evidence is all there, but the music plays on. And that leaves just one question. What song's sonic DNA do you want us to investigate next? Let us know in the comments below, and maybe we'll crack that case in a future video. Thanks for watching. This is a sonic investigation. We're going to uncover the hidden code that links the music we love to a single powerful source. You know that feeling. The beat drops and you just have to move. Polyrhythm, syncopation, and call and response. These are our clues. Now let's follow the trail. Now the global charts are dominated by Afro beats, with an S, a contemporary umbrella of pop styles from West African artists like Wizkid, Burna Boy, and Thames. It could be Beyoncé commanding a stadium, Drake's unmistakable flow, a viral TikTok dance, or Ed Sheeran's catchy rhythm. First up, polyrhythm. Don't think of one person playing one beat. Instead, imagine a whole conversation of rhythms happening at once.